All right, so let's get started. Hey everybody, this is Tori O'Neill, founder of the Mighty Dames, and welcome for another roll call interview. Well, today we are joined by Kelly. Hey Kelly.
Hello.
So let's go ahead and do the intro. Let's give everyone like your stats, how long you've been training, where you training at, and how you got into jiu-jitsu.
Let's see. I've been training a little over 5 years, and like January was 5 years, so literally a little bit over 5 years.
Okay.
I just got my brown belt in December.
Yay.
Thank you. I'm very happy. And I train at Excel Jiu Jitsu. It's in Boynton Beach, Florida, and
Okay.
my professor is George Santiago. I have been with him since day one.
Okay.
We used to be at a different facility, but he opened up Excel and haven't looked back.
All right. So why jiu-jitsu?
Oh my goodness. When I actually started jujitsu, it was based off of my theory that I was going to be an amazing MMA fighter, um, as many people do believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the time, I weighed 315 pounds.
Ooh.
And yeah, and I was told like I wouldn't walk again. Let's see if you can see my knee. Yeah.
Oh
Like
wow.
it's had 10 knee surgeries. Um,
Jesus.
yeah, so it's in bad shape, but it's okay. And
Yeah.
I said, oh, you won't walk again, so forth, so on. And I was very depressed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like my life. I wasn't active at all. It was hard to walk, like all these negative things. And I had never watched. I wasn't one of those people that did karate as a kid or knew MMA and this and that. And it was actually Ronda Rousey that I
Mm-hmm.
watched, and I was like, man, I could do that. I was like, I could do that. And I'm like, well, the big problem is how big I am, you
Mhm,
know? Like these women are 135 pounds and I am not, clearly. And I was like, you know what? Let me try something.
mhm,
And I tried and I immediately hurt my knee, had to have another surgery, but didn't give up. And I
mhm.
tried again to work out. This is just to work out so far. I haven't even entered jujitsu world yet. But
Okay.
I remember it so clearly, Tori, like them being like, well, just go running. And I'm like, no, I can't. And I love that when people are like, oh,
But just go do some
you're
cardio.
yeah, just go do some cardio. I'm like, yeah, let's blow my body out. Like
Yeah, like
that's a
that's
good idea. I'm like, I can't even do a jumping jack.
mhm.
But I mean, long story short, like I found my way. And
Yeah.
I can tell you that that first like MMA fight I had was the best experience. It had no, I didn't win. I didn't get
Mhm.
the win, lost decision. I didn't care. I had more fun than anybody there because I did it, you
Yeah.
know? And like in doing that, I found that I was a very different person in jujitsu.
Mhm.
Striking, I could take a hit, never really learned to block my face. I was like, whatever, it doesn't hurt, let's go. But when it came to jujitsu, there was, I would say, a peace.
Mhm.
There was a flowing meditation. There was a feeling of serenity, even like being attacked,
Mhm.
not winning, not, and
Mhm.
I loved it. I loved not having to hold back. I could use my strength. I could use my size.
Mhm.
Like, I got to use everything.
Mhm.
And it was wonderful. And when I started jujitsu, I weighed like 225, and my first fight was at 145. So it
Oof.
helped me get there. It helped me get in shape, and it has given me so many opportunities. It's
Mhm.
just amazing. Like it's truly the best thing.
That all it just gives me all the feels. There's so much in there that I want to unpack. Like, first of all, it's funny that like me too, I wasn't that person who got into like did taekwondo or anything at
Yeah.
school, but I came in through MMA as well. But
Hmm.
I came in through MMA just knowing what jujitsu was, but wanting
Hmm.
to wrestle. But it's Central Florida, and I think we're just now starting to get wrestling here. It's we're not a wrestle state, but yeah, I love that you mentioned like how people often tell people who are larger to just do something as if it's so like as if it's never crossed our mind to go like I love to go out and just go for a couple mile run. Oh, that
Yeah,
sounds awesome. It's fine. Until like 10 minutes in, you're like, yeah, I'm done. But yeah, but that's good that you continue to progress and you kept going. So you'd lost all that weight before you've lost a good chunk of weight before you started and then you got into.
I lost almost 100 pounds. Just I did, of course, like when I was depressed, I cannot tell you that I was eating healthy. That would be a lie. I didn't like myself. It wasn't like I didn't love myself. Like, no, I couldn't stand myself. And like, I was so unhappy because I've always been active my whole life. And suddenly my leg is taken and, I'm told like, you're never going to be active. And, it just really put a damper on my soul for a little while.
So were you someone you weren't particularly larger when you were younger? This was like once your knee had happened, that kind of.
I've never been tiny, maybe at birth, but I've never been like, oh, look at this petite woman.
Yeah.
Like never ever have I been petite. Nor will I ever be petite. And I'm quite okay with that. I was never like, at that point I was obese. So there have been points in my life where I was severely overweight. There had been points I was perfectly healthy. My weight definitely fluctuated tremendously throughout my whole life, whether it was emotional eating or, being this or that, or having this surgery and having that one. And, who knows, the 10,000 things. Like, I led a very healthy lifestyle. I used to love to drink. I drank way too much. And like, I don't drink at all now. Yeah. So it's like, it affects you. Like, it does, all those factors. There's 10,000 factors.
Yeah. So how did that whole thing play with your own body image? Like you said, you went from being very active to like, it's not like you made a decision to all of a sudden, I'm not going to be active. Like, you had an injury that kind of did that. How did all of that just go with your body image, and like, how are you able to deal with that transition?
Absolutely. What's actually unique about the situation is, well, maybe not unique, but to me it is. It's like, I never growing up was never, the teenage girl that was like, oh, let me do this. I was very much a tomboy, didn't care about anything. And I never really had like body image problems. I didn't care how I looked, any of that. And even when overweight, I don't know if I ever saw how big I was. I really do. The crazy thing is that when I lost the weight, and more so now, I have body image problems. It's the after effect of the fear. I live in such fear that it's going to be taken away, and that it's not good enough. And like, I went first, and this is just being so honest, so maybe somebody will relate.
I'm here for it.
It's like, I was consistently complimented. Like, oh my God, you've lost weight. When you post a workout thing, people are like, oh my God, let me shower you with praise. Let me do this.
Yeah.
Like, and then I got in shape and it kind of stopped. And I was like, oh my God, am I doing something wrong? Did I mess up? Like, do I not look good? And then it was like, oh, and I've never cared what anyone thought. But now suddenly I'm like, what? You shower me with praise, and now suddenly I care. I'm working on it now, believe it or not previously.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, because that is a whole other realm of body issues that we don't talk about a lot. We do talk about when you're bigger, you have body image, and we have women who are smaller, but that transition from one stage to another one is a whole tricky minefield, because like you mentioned, it's weird because we tell people you're not supposed to comment on women's bodies, right?
Yeah.
But they comment a lot when you're losing weight, which is perceived as you're getting healthier, you're doing good, right? And so you're used to being showered with this praise, but then the other side, the things they say sometimes are like, oh, was I not that great before? Or now that you're not praised, like, am I not good now? Is this stage here? Like, do I need to work harder to get smaller? Even though logically knows, like, I shouldn't get any smaller than what I'm getting right now. I was like, so what am I what's this? It's interesting that that's a whole other dynamic of people just
It
like,
is. It's like a whole different monster. And
yeah.
you know, it's what I'm working on currently. And luckily, like within the last couple weeks, another, fellow female brown belt, Anna H.
Mhm.
She does, if you ever want to check it out, it's AnnaHcoaching.com.
Okay.
But she started working with me, and she does the entire, like, I've had nutritionists in the past, and
Mhm.
they would just tell me, oh no, your nutrition's great. I'm like, well, then why am I stuck? And the
Yeah.
thing is, I'm stuck because I lost so much weight. I'm stuck because I crash dieted and cut weight up to
Mhm.
145, which I'm not meant to be. All
Mhm.
of these factors, and like there's the mental aspect, the body image, the overtraining, that
Mhm.
people don't talk about,
Yep.
when you're in the gym 4 hours a day because you want to do this or that, And so she's been helping a lot with that. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing now is, okay, don't overtrain.
Oh my God, we're definitely gonna have to do a two-part because like, oh my God, I had questions, but you're giving me so many things that I need to talk to you further about. It's interesting because like a lot of the other women that I've had on here, they don't have the same experience as you. I think we've had maybe one other person before who's actually fought and have to go through that process. Jiu-jitsu, like getting into a weight class for jiu-jitsu is completely different than having to get into a weight class for
Oh, yeah.
MMA when you have, I mean, technically there's other weight classes above 145, but are there really weight classes above 145?
They really, trust me, if there were, I'd be rocking it.
Yeah.
But
So the idea is the biggest you're allowed to be is 145 if you want to do an MMA fight, which is absolutely like absurd.
I don't get it. Some of the toughest women are larger women.
Absolutely. So this idea of you like crash dieting and cutting down to make that 145 for all of my 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Is
It actually blows my mind also. And I know there were a lot of petitions and stuff for women's weight classes recently. But even in jiu-jitsu,
yeah.
like the cutoff, 175 with gi for IBJJF. Now I walk around like 170, 165, like gi, like it's right there.
Right there.
So for me, I'm like, all right, like at Pans and World Masters, this last year, I did super heavy. And at Pans, it was okay. In World's Masters, like there was a large weight difference. And I'm like, you won. I will never complain about size, just so you know. Just so you know, if someone's like, no, oh, it's because they're bigger. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, because I do it too, and you will never hear me. Nope. Like, don't tell me it's because of size, because no, thank you, ma'am. Like
Yeah.
we've rolled.
Yeah,
And
we've
remember,
rolled before.
I swept you, and I was like, you.
Yeah, like we've rolled before. That's the thing. It's like, especially with the higher weight class, it's like I can't not say there needs to be another weight class because what am I sitting at right now? I'm at around 290. So if you went to super heavy, me and you are in the same weight class.
I'd slap your hand, bump it.
We'd be twirling on that mat now. Like, please, that little 100 pounds wouldn't mean shit once we're rolling. But I mean, like, for that to be the basically once you hit 175, good luck, ladies.
Good luck.
Kind of.
It's the truth. It's like, now you're unlimited, and I'm
it's like the selfish side of me is like, yay, I have more people to play with. But the other side is like, that's like, y'all could have at least given them like 200. Like you could at least bumped up to 200 because this is like, I'm at COVID weight, I like to say right now. So like I'm chipping my way down to like what is my normal competition weight. But even then, like even when I compete at what I consider my normal weight, we're still talking like 240.
Yeah.
And that's still a huge gap. So super heavies have to make some decisions because like you said, you don't want to get to the point where there's a lot of girls who are right around 280, 285, but are athletic, and it's not like they have a lot of stuff to cut. So it's like thug it out or try to cut down this weight. And it's not like an MMA where you can rehydrate and just go back. Like, no, like, oh, you weighed in, go to the bullpen now. You got 5 minutes for your next match. So, that's That's insane. But yeah, I'm glad that you did find someone to help you talk through, like help you work through some of those things. I think a lot of times what we forget we forget the mental aspect that comes into jujitsu, into body image, into weight loss, that you can hit your goals, like you, especially like you're talking about nutrition. You can be doing everything right eating wise and you still be like, something's not right here. What's
No, it's true.
what's going on here? And yeah, it's like I said, it's a very interesting dynamic that we find ourselves in. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say that men are exempt from it, but it seems like it seems like women just go through this special kind of hell when trying to balance everything out.
It is true.
So as you guys might see, it's a little bit of change of scenery. We had to hit with the part 2. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is you went to Brazil recently, right?
I did. We went for 2 weeks.
So first of all, props to you for going, international in the middle of the pandemic. That's nuts. But so why the trip to Brazil? Besides like the obvious. Why did you decide to go to Brazil?
Well, we went we went and visited her family, and that way I also got to try like training in Brazil, and just like, I mean, so I got to do some of the coolest stuff. It was just a vacation though. Like, okay, it's not like we didn't go to like Rio or anywhere like big. We literally went to like farms, like okay. I was able to like do the climbing of a tree, pick the own like acai berries and make your own acai.
Oh God.
So it was just a vacation.
Okay, that's pretty cool though. So did it feel like any difference of training though from like a Brazilian gym to an American one?
Yes.
How so?
Yeah, it was under one brown belt who I know he'll never see this, so I don't feel bad saying it.
Okay.
Really, he thought he was like a god. And I was like, okay, buddy, like I get it. Like you're the only brown belt in the entire area. I get it, cool stuff. But like he did a lot of cool stuff. Like it was just nuts though. Like you go in, it's just there's one, of course, no air conditioning. Like the mats are torn. Like the way they would wear their gis, like it was like wear them, get them sweaty, and everyone would just hang them up outside to put them back on the next day.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh Lord. So
a little bit more hardcore than we're used to here.
This particular gym, yeah. Like okay. I know, gis were of a shortage. I actually left mine. I was like, here you go, keep it. I can get another one, no problem. And so, it was what is it? Olivia was actually doing that
yeah,
the Jiu-Jitsu gypsies. And when I went there, I was like, oh yeah, definitely. And I
told her, see why she.
Yeah, I was like, it made it to Brazil. I hand delivered it.
Okay, that's that reminds me of like another interview that I had that people. I had last one we had with Shama, and it was this idea that jiu-jitsu in America or jiu-jitsu's become like a rich person sport, where before, not a rich person, because Lord knows I'm not rich, but like it's a sport of people who have a little bit more money compared to like some of its roots. It's like people were just making enough to train, or like having the latest gi, or having 5 gis wasn't really a priority. They're like, well, buy one once this one rips.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting mentality.
It is true, and like I consider myself very lucky. I am. I actually recently just got full sponsorship by Knox.
Hey, congrats!
So
we love a sponsorship.
Oh yeah, and if you want anything, use Smiley 30. You get 30.
It'll be down in the description, guys.
Yeah. But and it's really nice, and I like that it's not this massive company. It's it's a little bit smaller, and like it's a little bit more basic, and like there's all these companies out there doing so many good things. And like before we started, I was just telling you, like there's a woman named Bev who does Diesel Diva, and I had never heard of any of this. I had seen, you'll see like a D and a D, like with little swipes through it. Yeah. And I would see it, like on people's boxing gloves or like their t-shirt or something. And then it was actually Jay-Z who I was training with, and I was like, hey, what is this shirt? And I got to know her, and what it is it's for peace through sports.
Okay.
So she sells things. She's like getting ready to come out with a perfume line from tropical places. And like what she does is she sells items, sells the shirts, and she takes the money and puts it into sports where people can't afford it. And
Okay.
she works with Cyborg, not the male, but the female UFC
One of
Cyborg.
my favorite fighters, yes.
So she's always worked really hard with her. So we're actually collaborating on a t-shirt for women's empowerment. So
That's
I'm trying
awesome.
to design, and we'll make sure you get one, and like
Oh yeah.
it's gonna be neat, and like to realize like all the opportunities that we do have, it's really cool.
Well, yeah, make sure to let us know once that drops, and we'll make sure to share it with everyone so they can help support the cause. Yeah, that's awesome. I do love this whole, like, we have these really big companies within jiu-jitsu, but I love a small little niche local. You know how everyone like support local, but like also like support your little local jiu-jitsu groups, because there's a lot of them out there that are doing great things, and doing great things for the community. Like you mentioned, Jiu-Jitsu Gypsies. I think this is their third time, maybe second or third time getting these. Yeah,
it is, because they're in 6 years in now, I want to say, and I think it is their third gi gathering.
Yeah. So I feel bad because I literally have a pile of like old pants that do not fit me anymore, and jackets I need to get to her. I promise, Olivia, I'll do it. But yeah, that's a good thing. It's like these smaller groups that don't have the most money, but they're still able to facilitate change. And like you said, sometimes these smaller companies offer actual sponsorships for people instead of some of the bigger brands who give those 10% off ambassadorships that, not to hate on anyone, but like they don't really, it's for them, not for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have any, are you doing any tournaments coming up yet? You competing anywhere coming up, or are you chilling?
I am not. I'm chilling right now. Absolutely chilling. I did Pans and Worlds at the end of last year.
Did pretty good, as I saw.
I did go well. I had a good time. And, but no, I haven't decided to compete yet. Still, of course, always injuries. So dealing with it, so there's a little bit of a difference now. So just kind of trying to find a new way. And,
okay. How was competing like under the COVID bubble? Like what was that like compared to like, other competitions? Like especially like the IBJJF one, which are always slammed with people.
Yeah. Like what it was is it wasn't so much, it didn't really affect me. But what was sad is like, and I did understand where people were coming from, that it's like, oh, how are you calling it worlds when the world can't compete? Like the world can't come compete. And I'm like, I get it, like I get it. But for me, I didn't care what it said, like on the medal, like it was just, it does, even just in America, it brings out a different level of grappling.
It does.
I've always appreciated that. And, I met really cool women. Stacy Councilman, I think you know her, and I fought at Pans. She does a lot for women's. She's all the way from California.
Oh yeah, okay.
And like she made such a nice post about how, because we were talking before, like watching two girls fight, and like we were talking before and just chatting about it and this and that, and so the cool thing about like these competitions, other than like a Miami Open or Orlando Open, is it brings people from far, and it's I've never competed against somebody from outside of America at Worlds or Pans or anything anyway. And I'm like, so for me, it wasn't that big of a difference,
Okay, yeah. It is like, I felt I was that person when I found they came for Pans. I was like, crap. I was in the middle of like, I had been doing terrible. I think I just got back to training. So I was like, okay, it's fine. It sucks because it's in my backyard. And then when they came back with the world, I was like, oh, the universe is messing with me right now. They're really trying to test if I'll just do it. Yeah. And so those are, I'm a person who like, I compete fairly regularly, but not like super regular. And I've been itching to do it, but I I don't know. It's weird. I think I've been purple belt for what, year and a half now, and I haven't done an IBJJF yet. It just
Yeah,
feels.
yeah.
It feels so odd. If I'm used to competing like within the 6 months, I'm just like, so I'm just gonna train
Yeah.
and improve. I guess that's a thing we're doing now. Okay, cool. But
Yeah, it is sometimes.
the good thing is, though, I mean, if you can call it a good thing, it's probably not for anyone who's not in the South. It seems like they're going to be in Florida a lot. Like they're in.
Very easy for us.
It's like I have no problem because like I don't know, but for you, but like it kind of sucks that all of the bigger ones are either on the East or the West Coast. So it's like you want to go to Worlds, like are you going to go to California? Are you going to go to Vegas? Or if you want to do like Pans or something, like are you going to go to New York? I was like, fuck, I don't really want to, but I guess. But like hopefully they start realizing that Florida is really like it's a jiu-jitsu state now. Like it's getting a lot of, it should get more recognition for like we have big MMA camps here, which is bringing bigger jiu-jitsu people here, just with like our import of people who come. I should not call people imports with the immigration that does come through here. We're getting a lot of like great combat athletes. So hopefully like we get those bigger tournaments returning to Orlando or Miami, even Miami, just in Florida will be awesome.
I hope so. I thoroughly, I enjoy competing. And yet every time I compete, every single time, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like every single time I get there. And then as soon as it's done, I'm so glad I did this. And then it'll happen again. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Why do I do this?
So are you that person who regrets it while they're in the bullpen or while they're walking to the mat?
The morning of.
Okay. I am. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, when for me to compete, I don't do okay. I don't think to myself, oh, I'm in a good spot. Let me compete. Like I literally get ready for that competition. Like I get ready for those people. Like I do. And it's hours and hours every day. It's getting in shape even further. It's doing. It's so many things.
You're so much better than I am.
Like no, like, and I don't joke around. Like if I will drill like 2 hours a day, do 2 hours of training a day, and add strength training in every day, Monday through Friday, and like give up everything else. And like it's no joke to me.
Yeah.
And so I put a lot of pressure on myself all the time, and it's worth it in the end.
Yeah.
But the day of, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired because I've done so much. I'm like, let's go. Let's just get it over with.
You're like the most prepared you can be. And I'm like that person like, oh shit, there's one coming up next month. Let's try it. I'm the person who like, I'm typically the morning of, I have like little stomach flutters, like, oh God, we're doing it. But I'm fine. Cause like being like a super heavy, you're either like first thing in the morning or you're like later on. So if it's first thing in the morning, I don't have time to get freaked out. If it's like a little bit later, I've watched enough people, so I'm fine. It's literally not until like my first foot touches the mat. I was like, this is so stupid. Why do I even do like she's really trying to hurt me? Like, why? What has led me to this path in my life? I thought this would be a fun activity to do. And then like halfway through, like when we start competing, if you look at any of my videos, any of my pictures, I have a complete dead face. I zone out completely. Like I am like, my face is, and then after that, we're like, oh, okay, it's done. All right, cool. Yeah, that was awesome. And then you'll like see me like slowly, like I'm like dancing or just like chit chatting on the side. But for the most part, I say I like to compete because I like to test myself against like, to see how I'll respond. And I like shiny things, I'm not gonna lie. But like other than that, the act of competing is so nerve-wracking.
It is 100%. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Like it still is that same feeling. I mean, like to compare jiu-jitsu to like the MMA, like it's a completely different thing. And once I did like with cage fighting, Like it made jujitsu a lot easier. And the same thing I always tell like any friend who fights, like I promise you, nobody's here for you. Like you're in an auditorium, right? Like when you think about it, maybe every once in a while you watch a match while you're sitting there, or you're like,
Yeah.
oh, or like Flow Grappling catches you or something. But otherwise, nobody gives a crap. Like it's the truth. Like we're thinking, oh my God, it's all these eyes on me.
Mm-hmm.
You're just one of 1,000 people that day
Yep.
to step on that mat. So you know what? That's for you. It's for your
Yep.
academy. It's for your professor. You know, it's that
And
how you choose to represent yourself and your team, you know?
especially when you go to the bigger tournaments, there's literally like 12 mats going on at the same time. It's like nobody's looking down at mat 7 to see that you got swept. Nobody knows. Sometimes they may have forgot to turn the camera on to record your match. It's just you. There's nothing. But at the time, you feel like everyone there is watching you, is watching everything. I've literally competed at an IBJJF down in Miami where like we were our open match was like, this happened actually twice. We were the last people of the day. They were literally pulling up mats on the other side while we were finishing. And that's when I clicked like, oh, they don't give a fuck. Like everyone was gone except for like 2 or 3 people on their team and a couple people who were lingering to take their pictures. But I was like, that right there was probably the most people who were actually watching us because there was literally nothing else going on in the auditorium. But yeah, I think people do. We put pressure on ourselves because we want to succeed, and you know, we have a sense of school pride and self pride. Like you work so hard, and it's nice to see like, even if you don't like, you know, get first place, you want to see some of that hard work just like shown through there. So
No, I genuinely believe my hardest fights have been the ones that I've lost. The ones I have performed in a way that I surprised myself, you know, because it's like in you know, in the moments of the last 10 seconds, what do? Have you given up? Do you, you know, it's like this last Worlds, like from my point of view, you know, I went against Jamie and you know, she ended up taking the win. And like it was when I stood with her, it was a completely different stance. You know, she had good balance. She was, you know, she was strong. She had it all. And normally my takedowns, boom, I take people down, take people down, take people down. And I was like, this chick is not budging. So I was like, tried some new things. Was like, all right, 2 years ago in class we did this. Let's try this judo on. Let's try this judo on.
Yeah.
And through everything, and unfortunately on one of them, she got my leg. And she held me and she got me down, and I just couldn't let her pass. Was my only goal. Like, don't let her get any further points. And I mean, to be real, the thought process in my head was, you got to get up. And like her boots on me, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, Kelly, channel your inner big booty Judy and like find a way to get that ass in the air and don't let her pass.
Let's go.
I mean, the thought even crossed my mind, like, you're wearing black. If you have to shit your pants, just do it. Give it your all. And like, I could not get out of that position. And it was like, all right, offer the arm. You know, she went for the arm, was able to get up. And when I got up, the thing she even said, I think there was a minute left. She was like, oh my God, you got up. You looked like you were going to kill me. I was like, I was.
Yes.
Like, what? That
was my plan. I'm glad you detected that. That's what I was giving out.
And I went for collar drag, knowing it would tie, and my hand just didn't even hold. It literally went for the gi. It was like, beep. And I just fell to the ground, landed inside, and with like 10 seconds left, almost got a submission, but never gave. You know what I'm saying? Like, never gave. And like, I wish there would have been more jujitsu in that, like more of a, you know, jujitsu fight. But like, it was nice of me to see, like, all right, you don't give up. Like, win or lose, whatever. It's just like competition. But like, it was so cool to see in myself that I never gave up. Like, and to me, that's very important, you know? So it's something I tell people all the time. Like, for a long time, I wanted to be a motivational speaker, and at times I still do. And you know, one of my biggest things is that I would love the world, just every single person, to realize that they truly can do anything, like anything. if you set your mind to it, you can do it. Like 100%. If you want it, go get it. There's nothing that'll stand in the way. Like, are there going to be obstacles, hurdles, difficult times? Oh my God, yes. Like, yes, there have been nothing but injuries in jiu-jitsu because I came into it with injuries, like the weight loss hurdles, the personal life hurdles, like the amount of things. And it's like, but I promise, I wish I could like take a piece of how I feel and give it to each person, and it's like, because I believe it in my heart, that person can do everything. And I hate to see people give up. I'm like, no, don't give up. If you're tired, so go, like you wanted this, like go, don't give up. So
that's one of the reasons why, so how you talk about like that perseverance, you have to kind of keep driving. And one of the reasons why I like wrestling as much as I do is because that is the thing that you literally can't stop. It forces you to like stay hungry and constantly grinding. I think the first time I went up against someone who was like, I'm not going to say my size, because I feel like there's still just not that many people close to my height and size. Like, it's even when I'm like trimmed down, I'm just a solid person. And it was the first time I went up to someone like as close to my size as possible, and she just didn't buckle like other people buckled. And I could tell she kind of had that same. We both had that look of like, oh, so this is what we're doing now.
When you meet yourself, you're like, oh
yeah. And we ended up matching twice in the finals of our division and in the finals of open weight. And she beat me twice. And both times it was like, I think both times it was like by advantages. It was that typical super heavy, stubborn, like, you will not take me down. I was like, oh, well, you're not going to take me down either. And I remember that's like I get your little thing, that mentality of like, I'm just going to get up. It's like, she's just not going to pass. She's not going to pass. Right toward, like, a minute or so toward the end of it, she goes in for a shot. I'm like, dude, perfect. I love when people double leg on me. I have solid hips. I'm gonna smush them. I'll be able to get around and I'll win. I don't know what she did and I did, but I sprawled out so hard and just killed my MCL. Ripped my MCL, dislocated my kneecap. But it was out of bounds. So like all right, everyone get back up. I stood up, I fall back down. He's like, are you fine? I was like, oh, I can continue. So for the rest of that round, I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure I lost this, but I refused to let her take me down. It was that ridiculous stubbornness. I held my head. I was like, you know what? She can beat me. She won't let me down. She won't put me down. She won't put me down. And like, as soon as like 100%. He's like, the match is over. I'm like collapsing to the ground, like, oh my God, it all hurts. And he's like, oh, people come in. It's like, yeah, all of this is not like, all this something here did not, this is over here. It shouldn't, like, this is wrong. Fix it. But I will always remember that as like a sheer mental stubbornness. Like, okay, I might not be able to do everything I want to do, but I will be damned if she actually takes me down. Like, will it hurt? Absolutely. Will I regret this tomorrow? I'll regret it for a solid 2 weeks. I should have just let her take me down. But it was like a personal battle at that point that I was into. But yeah, there's definitely like a line that runs through people that I wish they could tap into a little bit more of, that like resiliency. Just like, just don't give up just hold on a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, this was awesome. Thank you so much for like coming on here.
And thank you for having me today.
Absolutely.
My little guy.
There you go. Look, she's like, okay, where are we going next? All right. I love like just the scrunch down.
Yeah, she would.
Oh my goodness. All right.
That's
sweet.
right.
So so where can they find you on social media if they want to like, follow you, see what's going on in the world of Kelly?
Kelly B underscore, right? Smiley.
Okay, awesome.
Like this thing, it's underneath it.
That's on Instagram, Facebook.
He does on both. Yeah.
All right, dope. All right, guys. So this will yeah, that's it. We're done for the day. Thank you very much again, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. So